What would be, to me, the biggest Miami win since sometime in 2017?
Probably Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that was the week before things fell apart. Shout out to Achebe with the game at Pittsburgh and then everything after that. Yeah, because that was 10-0. And then we lost the 11th game because we had one game canceled that year. So, yeah, the biggest win since Notre Dame 2017. That's a ranked team down here at Hard Rock Stadium. And, yeah, it was hard fought. It wasn't perfect. And that's the thing that I want everybody to know. Out of everything out there, it was not perfect. But Miami found a way. And it looked like what I thought the beginning of the year was going to look like, with a really strong defense, a developing offense that capitalized in a couple of instances, but wasn't consistent to the level that I think anybody would have liked. But yeah, beating Virginia, it was a big game. Obviously, if you lose that game, you're completely out of the running for the ACC Coastal. Now you're in the running. Obviously, you need some help with both North Carolina and Virginia needing to lose again. But yeah, man, it was a big game. Big win.
Miami wins it over Virginia 17-9. And as we outlined last week, all you had to do is do the metrics and the math of the division standings. And if Miami had lost that game, Virginia was off and running. And certainly there would be other teams that would be capable of catching them, but at a virtual 4-game deficit. That would not include Miami. But now we've got a situation with the Canes with 2 losses, Virginia with 1. If the Cavaliers go down once and Miami's able to stay clean, then they would win the tiebreaker, at least against the Cavaliers. So it's a division race once again. So let's go to the good points of the game that included holding Bryce Perkins and company to 9 points. They drove it up and down the field. Not that they gained a ton of yardage or anything, but they were in scoring position a number of times. I know that the stat was at one point in the game, I think 6 trips into the red zone and 3 field goals. Well, that's all they had were the 3 field goals. So they certainly had their opportunities, but still it wasn't like they gained 500 yards but only kicked 3 field goals. 252 passing, 74 rushing. So it was a stellar effort for the Miami defense top to bottom.
Yeah, I mean, it really was. This looked like a Miami Hurricanes team. This looked like what the team I envisioned to look like under Manny Diaz. Just defense getting after it all day. Gregory Rousseau, when his first start, 6 games into the year, I don't know why it took to 6 games to start this man. And I mean, again, I'm just saying that on the strength of his play. I know that there's people who say, oh, well, insert player here. I'm not even calling anybody else's name. All I'm saying is number 15 needs to start. Period. Pointblank.com. He's already 7th in the ACC in sacks. And he was playing 10 to 15 to 20 snaps in games. What are you talking about? Like, what are we doing? But you finally put him out there, had that big stop on 4th down, had a couple sacks, tackle for loss. He's all over the place. I mean, he's a 6'6", 6'7" pterodactyl with arms at, 8.5-foot wingspan and all this kind of stuff. Like, that's a dude. That's a dude you need to build this team around, not bring him on slowly. And look, he's making if you're talking about every position is always up for contention, this man's making the plays. Play him. And you finally play him and you see what happens. Shaq Quarterman playing a lot better. Michael Pinckney playing better. In the secondary, you're largely playing well. You get a couple of things. DJ Ivey slips on a pass and they get 50 yards right before halftime and they get a field goal instead of being shut out in the first half. You have one of those things. There was one drive. They went to the back shoulder fade or these 50-50 jump balls. And I had flashbacks to what was that, 2017 Orange Bowl against Wisconsin, when they caught every contested ball and just Moss dudes just, give me that. Like it was easy. And I'm like, I had flashbacks to that because that happened for a good few couple throws in a row. But yeah, man, the defense played really, really strong. Really proud of those guys, just stiffening when you needed to hold them. You hold them to 4 field goal attempts. You block the first one clean, which is awesome. Obviously Miami came down on the first drive, scored a touchdown, which tilts the game in their favor a little bit. You didn't really think that 7 points was going to hold up. But as the game wore on in the first half, you're like, yo, this 7 points, I mean, it looked like it was going to be 7-0 going into the half. And that touchdown looked to be an insurmountable kind of obstacle for Virginia to overcome. Because, yeah, I mean, Miami really wasn't letting Bryce Perkins, the quarterback, cook like that, things like that. So, I mean, there was a lot to like. There were things not to like. Nkosi did miss a couple throws. He overthrew Mike Harley on a slot fade, which is the same route that he hit to Brevin Jordan for the game winner against Florida State. A little bit of a longer distance, but he overthrew Mike Harley, which you have a faster guy. I would think that connection should be able to work on literally the same route from the same alignment. You missed KJ Osborne on a post, who was the fourth player on that progression, but came butt naked wide open. And I know Nkosi, his eyes just got big. He said, "Ooh," and he just, he zipped it maybe a little bit too hard. But it's one of those ones, and I was watching him because his back was to us, so they were going to the opposite end zone, and he threw that ball, and you just see him jump up and down like, oh, like as soon as he threw it, because he knew he put too much on it. But that's okay. These are things that we can develop. And for everybody who wants to say something contrary, all I'm going to say is I'm giving Nkosi Perry the same kind of grace for development that you give to Jaron Williams, which I also give to Jaron Williams. That maybe he can hit some of these deeper shots. Maybe he can do some of those other things. But I find it curious when people say that Jaron can develop and Jaron can potentially do these things that he's not doing right now, but Nkosi cannot develop and cannot do the things that he's not doing right now. I find that dichotomy telling to you and what you believe. And everybody knows that I'm a Nkosi Perry fan, but I'm here to support the best quarterback. That's it. So I think that Nkosi could develop. I think that he's earned the right to continue to be the starter. And he is going to start this week's game. So, a lot to like. DJ Dallas, he had a strong game. Not as many rushing yards as you would like, but 63 on 13 carries. Okay. Nkosi Perry ran for 20 yards on 9 carries. Obviously you take away sack yards, so he really ran for like 40-something, I want to say. And then you just have guys making plays, and I need that last tackle to get broken. You know what I mean? Like Mark Pope up the sideline. Like he breaks a tackle and then a guy gets him by a shoelace. Like all these dudes have been caught by like a shoestring this year. And at some point they're going to break out and they're not going to get caught by those. But yeah, there were a lot of things to like, a lot of things not to like. 42, 45 total yards of offense in the second and third quarters combined. That's not good enough. But, you bookend that with a strong first quarter, first drive, a strong fourth quarter, game-winning drive, Nkosi pulling it down and running it in like I told you he should have did against Virginia Tech the week before when the pass play broke down, things like that. There were some really questionable play calls, speed option to the short side of the field on 3rd and 1 a couple of times, so I know that I'm almost talking in circles, so I'm going to get to this question that's on the screen. But there were things to like, there were things not to like. But overall, when you beat a ranked team at home, a tough team like Virginia in this year, you can't help but feel good, even though there are things to still develop and improve moving forward.